pull on that jersey. You represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
The playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of NETMA. I'm your host, Tyler FALK. Welcome to the program here on this Tuesday evening. We've got 11 games to cover here, coming off of week 6, a 3-game day weekend. All games going on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I don't know about you guys, but that week left me a little confused on a couple of teams. A lot of teams flipped the script. A couple of teams put crooked numbers into columns that they didn't have one before. Very, very interesting week as we are getting closer and closer to the halfway point of this regular season. So let's go ahead and start to look at in depth all 11 contests. Start with the first game going over on Saturday. That would be San Diego and Charleston, and it's giving me concerns, and for both clubs, in fact. San Diego's woes are more than likely a little bit well known with their rookie quarterback, 3 interceptions for Scar Patterson, 1 fumble from Bill Cherry. That's not the first fullback fumble we saw this weekend. We'll see a couple more. But just a little concerning from San Diego. They weren't able to take down Charleston, and there goes my best bet on this week. Is now I go to 42 of best bets over the course of this regular season. And for Charleston, their concern is TD Drew. Breaking news over the weekend is TD Drew is in the process of being cut because of inactivity. And over on the SFL Discord, the announcement was made public by owner Jack Brown over in team content. And very interesting to see who they've got. It sounds like they've already got their new quarterback under in principle is probably the best way to say it. Now I wouldn't say under contract, but in principle they have their next quarterback lined up, ready to go. Who that is at this point remains to be seen, and we'll bring you the latest details on that story as it becomes available. So 2 concerns, one for San Diego, one for Charleston, both involving quarterbacks. All right, on to game number 2, and it's a very scary defense. Louisiana has a very scary defense. They take down Las Vegas 33-21, and it's another weekend where the Revs pick up multiple turnovers. 5 interceptions on the day for that defense. A couple by Rallman Hood, one by Ryan, one by Bennett, and or checked only one by Hood. I thought Hood caught 2. Maybe I'm mistaken. No, he did get 2. No, then I am mistaken again. It wasn't Bennett who got the other pick. I forget. Dante Grimm gets 2 interceptions, including his first career pick 6. And he named us the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Interceptors, or something of that nature. But it's that defense. That defense in Louisiana is getting a well-deserved break as the Revolution approach the bye. Las Vegas, another tough weekend where they can't seem to get going as those departures from the off-season seem to maybe hinder their progress just a little bit. But definitely a better day at the office for the Revolution defense, which did control that football game once again. Utah, no touchdowns, one interception, was sacked 4 times. A little bit concerning as far as the offensive production goes, but when you got a couple of capable halfbacks in the backfield, they're able to score a couple touchdowns, including well, a couple of decent plays, get him in scoring position. Of course, we got Otis Boudreaux in the kicking game, knocked home another quad of field goals. So the Revolution off to a good start as they approach the midway point of their season. Okay, on to the next game, Denver and Arizona. It was a very surprising shootout. Who expected Eddie Gage and company to be involved in a shootout, let alone be as prolific in the air, barring the results we've seen them go through earlier in the season. A very, very welcome surprise, very welcome development as well. Both teams played very well, and I did say on the call at the end of that football game that second to last play was a little bit controversial, but you learn something new every day. Just to break it down in depthly, it was already covered by Cam, so we'll go maybe a little bit less in depthly than what Cam shared with everybody in League Alerts. But a blocked punt was muffed by a member of the Nightwings. It fell into the arms of a Scorpion, and because the kicking team recovered it, they weren't able to advance the ball, but they do take over on a new set of downs. And that's why we saw Arizona's offense retake the field and kneel out that football game. So really good game. Unlucky break for the Nightwings. Arizona with a very surprising but good win under their belt. All right. Final game of Saturday night was the Toros and Hyenas, and the Toros are finally off the SNIDE. A very, very close ball game. Fort Worth were able to hang on to victory from the end of that third quarter onward, only allowing 3 points to Houston. And it could have been more. It could have been plenty more for the Toros. In fact, it maybe should have been more. A couple of bad interceptions thrown by rookie quarterback Reno in that red zone. Didn't throw a single passing touchdown, but was looking for it, but did throw it away 2 times in very crucial situations. Unfortunately for Houston, they just weren't able to capitalize. And so Fort Worth get the victory, get their first win of season 18 in a very tight ball game. On to London and DC, and London are slaying their dragons. Not just the team putting a loss into DC's loss column for the first time in season 18. So 2 teams lose the O, grab a crooked number, and London's passing attack was very potent. I was very surprised how many big passing plays DC gave up throughout that football game. It didn't seem like DC was very keyed into that London is a pass-heavy team. I think they tried to go more into the blitzing style and try and stop everything short, and Pickler just aired it out, found Green and Kalia on deep, long passing plays, which completely dismantled this DC defense. And so Pickler had a solid day, 534 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, a different type of Pickler performance from what we've seen earlier. So Pickler and London slay their dragons. They get back into the win column, 2 straight wins after their bye week. In DC, well, they'll have to figure out what's going on and change it up for their next contest. All right, on to Atlanta and Sioux Falls, and it's the old saying: it's not how much, but how many wins do you get? Not how many points you score, but how many wins you have at the end of the day. And Atlanta come back, get back into the win column after a couple of confusing losses, both to divisional opponents. They take on Sioux Falls on the road, looking for a crucial win, and it still concerns me how many interceptions Bryant Dynasty is throwing, but he did lead the game-winning drive, finding BDG on a swing pass, which surprisingly Sioux Falls were playing 5 to 10 yards deep in their own end zone and just weren't alive to the short passes when you're in short yardage territory down at the end of their own red zone. So very puzzling decision there from the defense of Sioux Falls, and Atlanta capitalized and come home with a very crucial win to get them to keep them in the division hunt. They'll face Las Vegas next week. On to the next one, Lone Star and Mexico City, arguably the closest ball game of the weekend because this is the only game that went into overtime, and experience triumphs youth. Ramos Lin is a great coach. We've all known this, and while they were struggling the last 2 weeks, losing to Baltimore and losing to DC, they had gone 2-3, and there were questions being asked. But people like Brian Craven were saying, I still think Ramos is a great coach. I don't doubt the plans that Ramos has for that club. And they come out, have to come from behind, and they do push to overtime. And hashtag throw to the tight end happens for a couple of plays. Wilson finds his best buddy in the whole wide world, Mike Daggs, and they march down the field, kick a chip shot deep into Lone Star territory, and Mexico City walk off with a win at home. And for Lone Star, the one thing I have to say about the Glory is that third down percentage in that football game. They only had 7 third downs, but they only converted on 2 of them. Make that 28% roughly. So questions are needed to be asked of that offense. How potent can that offense be for Lone Star? We know that the dink and dunk can work, the out routes can be working, but it didn't seem to produce when it needed to, especially in the first and third quarter. There was only maybe a 2-quarter team scoring 14 points in the second and fourth quarter. I mean, they did take the lead in the fourth quarter, but then the defense gave up 10 points in the fourth and overtime. So third down conversion percentage for Lone Star needs to be fixed, in my opinion. On to the next contest, Tulsa and St. Louis. And don't be sleeping on St. Louis. And I know it's taboo to say that you shouldn't be sleeping on any teams, especially because no one truly sleeps. But how this game progressed, it seemed to me that St. Louis just wasn't prolific enough. Yes, they converted nearly 90% on third down. They controlled time possession, but they gave the ball away 4 times compared to Tulsa's 2. They gave Tulsa great field position to work with, and that's why we only see JQ having just over 150 yards passing and Douglas Brown carrying the other half of the workload, close to 140 yards for Brown on the ground. Just a very, very, it leaves a lot to be desired, this St. Louis performance. They out hustle the Tulsa Desperados in terms of yards. They grab 24 first downs compared to 10 for Tulsa. They convert on a majority of their third downs. They control time of possession, but they're just not able to do anything with it. Very, very frustrating ball game, in my opinion. Tulsa with a big win, and just proving that don't give them an inch because they will take the ball game. All right, final 3 games. This one is the first of the last doubleheader of Sunday night. Hopefully that makes sense. Going into Vancouver, Florida and Vancouver, 2 great ball clubs. And like an Avalanche, the Vancouver win this football game. Now, it took a while. If you look at the box score, it's very, very amusing. Vancouver were very slow to get going, right? Scoring no points in the first quarter. They scored 10 points the second quarter, 14 points the third quarter, and then 17 points to end out the football game. And they closed down the Florida offense in that fourth quarter. And so they just kept rolling and rolling and rolling, and they found a way to win. Florida is a very solid day. Not a whole lot of mistakes for Ron Cochran and company. Boletsky had 100, close to 150 yards. Cochran only one mistake, no touchdown, which is the big reason why they didn't win this football game. And a lot of pass deflections. The Vancouver defense, who at one point had 8 interceptions versus Jacksonville, uh, had only one here in this ball game, but they were still potent enough to knock the ball away on multiple occasions and keep this game tight for Vancouver's offense to take control of the football game. So good win for Vancouver as we move on to our next contest. And I got to ask, our next team here, Jacksonville. You guys okay? You okay there in Jacksonville? I wasn't expecting that. A very almost soul crushing performance for Jacksonville. Los Angeles completely dismantled any semblance of a game plan that Jacksonville thought they might have had in this football game. The only touchdown came late in that ball game for Jacksonville, forced to go to the field goal unit 3 times in the ball game, and with 5 turnovers. Dunhill threw 5 intercepts. It looked to me like Dunhill was back in his first season with Jacksonville, not sure of himself. Los Angeles almost put the time warp on him that the defense was that good. And then, my goodness, if you didn't see the run that Rojo put on, a huge scamper of 60 yards, but I'm already calling it the run of the year. That's got to be top 10 of the season, let alone this week. It was a great run for Robert Johnson. He played phenomenally. 170 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and completely destroyed Jacksonville's rushing defense. Just absolutely fantastic performance for Los Angeles. They'll be looking back at this game and thinking, this is where we turn things around, because they completely flipped the script here in season 6, or week 6. My apologies. You guys can probably tell at this point, not feeling the greatest. There may or may not be a show on Wednesday or the rest of this week. It just depends on what's going on. But we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated in the NETMA server Discord, link to which is down below in the description. All right, final game of the weekend. This came last night on Monday, and a little special presentation. Had a lot of guests. 4 guests joined Cam and Irvine on camera and with sound. And I think the only word sound effect that can totally describe this game is bleep. If you didn't catch the unfiltered, uncanny, unrestricted SFL quote unquote hashtag SFL After Dark that we got Monday night. Just be prepared if you watch back that football game. Prepare your ears. Make sure if you want to hear some coarse language, go ahead and listen back to it. I still encourage you to go ahead and watch those highlights. But a couple of people in particular just haven't. It's what you do. If you're on camera or off camera, it's good to see the raw emotion from everybody, right? I think that's what we got out of that experience. Is everyone was excited. Everyone was just ready for each and every play, right? We had a little bit of insight on what the players were thinking they were going to call. We had a little bit of banter back and forth. We had some great conversations over to Jorge Torres. He's expecting a child in August. Congratulations again. Go out to Mr. Torres. And we got to hear from everybody on the panel. T-Roy Gaines back in the booth. Please, T-Roy, come back to broadcasting. It was so good to hear you on a call once again, even in a I would say unofficial capacity in that regard, not so required to make any calls. But I miss having T Roy on a call. But back to the game in and of itself. Baltimore continued to roll. Queen City come up short. They took it to Baltimore for all 4 quarters, and Baltimore just close out that football game. Queen City unable to do the same on their end, and Baltimore with it was a great game, fantastic game to watch, fantastic game to be a part of. I think the first the unconventional broadcast was a success for the SFL and for Baltimore and Queen City. Okay, that's going to do it for us here on Tuesday. We will see if there's going to be a show. If not, I'll be posting the power rankings on here on YouTube, maybe on a community post, and also in the NETMA server Discord channel. Of course, link to which again is down below. If you want to find more SFL content, go to the official SFL website. Down below is there as well. SimulationFL.net. Links to all of our content are there on that website, and check out stats and everything else from the league there as well. So maybe we'll see you guys tomorrow on Wednesday. And until then, or until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.